Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Not Funny Guys Present Go Team Venture. We are moving now to the end of season 6. So much fun, so little time left. But here we are, episode 7, A Party for Tarzan, originally aired on March 13, 2016, written by Doc Hammer. Now, this one follows that after a meeting with Christopher Lambert, or Lambert, depending on how snooty you want to be in saying that term. We'll go with Lambert. At a party, Rusty invites him to watch the lunar eclipse at the Ventec Tower. The monarch goes on an arch with his new emesis legitimately, while he sends 21 as Blue Morpho to abduct and kill Rusty's next arch. This way he can throw people off the scent. The monarch sends pictures of him arching, doing his arching work to Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, while 21 has the villain, Wandering Spider, call her before killing him. She misses the messages as Rusty steps out to watch the eclipse from his balcony, while the council sets up a sniper rifle to kill him. Wide Whale makes Dr. Mrs. the Monarch shoot him, but Rusty, having stolen Blue Morpho's jacket and cotton, basically his whole outfit earlier that day from Enzo's, literally falls over, but he's not harmed because there's Kevlar. It's a bulletproof jacket because 21 had dropped it off at Enzo's because Enzo is a guild-approved cleaners. Post-credit, Dr. Mrs. the Monarch berates the councilmen for their sloppy work. She notices that Lambert is down below knocking on the Ventec door because he can't get in. Fun episode. This summary doesn't even really touch the best parts of this episode. But let's get into some of the better parts of this episode. Let's deconstruct this a little bit more. So we have kind of out of order a sequence of events. We start with the supposedly Rusty lying dead, scare quotes there, wearing the Blue Morpho outfit. But then we immediately jump into 21 doing a kind of Goodfellas narration. And this passes along through different characters throughout the episode. And it's very much in a Martin Scorsese type vibe. So I always think of Goodfellas, but it's a Martin Scorsese thing. We do admit this point during this conversation, we get 21's backstory about how he was kidnapped originally when he was 8th grade. And he was there in D.C. to present a state senator, and the Monarch's people, which apparently 21 was originally one of his kidnappers, kidnapped him thinking he was the senator to make Rusty Venture's name illegal. It's a really lame idea. We do also find out that his real name is Gary Fisher. He eventually does get into henching himself with the Monarch. He gets his wings at 16, but he got his GED as a fallback. The voiceovers, like I said, continue throughout. Dr. Mrs. the Monarch is having a meeting with the guild, and apparently they never kept records on the Blue Morpho because he was a vigilante. They did put a bounty on him that was apparently originally claimed in 1976. Dr. Z notes of an incident he had in 1973 with the Blue Morpho, where he was supposedly making love to the tennis player Billie Jean King, who took part in the match of the Battle of the Sexes, a very famous thing. Turns out that this was actually the Blue Morpho in disguise, and Dr. Z is very confused after making love to this person, believing it to be a woman, and it's not. He does not know how the switcheroo happened. He is literally flabbergasted. And then there's a whole claim that among the council that basically the Blue Morpho was the guy who did Jonas Sr.'s dirty work for him. Rusty, of course, has snuck into that party where he does meet Christopher Lambert, a.k.a. the Highlander, a.k.a. Tarzan, hence our title, A Party for Tarzan. He finds Lambert is wearing his own speed suit, which he then comes to realize is the Patriarch, even though Enzo denies it at first. He admits, yes, he did. He offers to make Rusty something like that, but when he's in the back looking for things, he steals the Blue Morpho suit that's there. This is because it's being cleaned after its happening one night events where they were in the river, dead dolphins and all. 21 sent it there because it's a safe place, apparently approved. So he steals it with the idea that he'll bring it back. And so he needs something for his party. He's throwing a lunar eclipse party that he's invited Lambert to. Dr. Z goes to the Monarchs and runs into Monarch as he's leaving to go do his legitimate henching of Dr. Heine. 21 goes off to take care of the Wandering Spider. This is their plan to break things up. On the subway, the monarch goes into an entire spiel about rankings and the creation of the equal matched aggression levels. And I want to detour real quickly here about this because I've got a slide, and you'll see here that the concept of equally matched aggression is the principle that arch enemies, or arches for short, should be paired together according to the level, to the general level of power and resources. To this end, the EMA level ranking system is used by the Guild of Calamitous Intent and the Office of Secret Intelligence of the Guild and the OSI to pair antagonists and protagonists with each other such that they are relatively the same playing field of power. Now, this goes back here. So the EMA sorting system was instituted after a relatively weak villain, Turnbuckle, demanded a fight with Jonas Sr., trying to pretend like he was kidnapping Rusty. He was ruthlessly beaten and killed by the Action Man. Turnbuckle was totally outclassed when he took on Team Venture, which is why the ranking system was instituted. So you can read more of that. I've included the links just in case you want to learn a little bit more about that, but it's very fascinating. So this was all implemented to make sure these kind of things didn't happen and that everybody kind of had an equal playing field. Dr. Z apparently at one point tells Dr. Mrs. Mark that he thinks Rusty is the Blue Morpho, and that he and the old timers then recruit her to come to Wide Wales, which is across from Ventec Tower, because they're planning to take care of it like you do the old way. Rusty's party, Lambert is not there. There's a whole situation where they're making drinks. Hank is the bartender. Then Rusty wants to make some drink I can't recall in my mind. But then Billy spills it on him. He goes outside, heavy on grenadine. While this is happening, meanwhile, 21 appears to have killed the Wandering Spider, who has very Doc Ock-like appendages, but he's taken him out to the Pine Barrens, which, if we all remember, this is actually where the plane crash with the Monarch's parents. He really doesn't kill him, though. He does have him call to try and throw the scent off, but no one picks up the phone. Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch does then snipe Rusty, but of course the Kevlar lining saves his life, and she's just pissed that this has been an exaggeration, especially once she hears the messages. The Monarch also, by the way, was taking selfies with the doctor, who, I swear, they say he's a level 4. I'm not kidding. I'm reading from the list here. They claim he's a level 4, an EMA level 4, but I don't know if he had the right guy. Very fun, very cinematic episode. And by the way, when you look at the list in the link, you'll see that level 1 is Augustus St. Cloud, Billy, and Pete. Galacticon was only a level 3. Dr. Heine's level 4, Victor Von Helping, and then they do have an updated list where you see a bunch of people as level 10s, including the Monarch. He has not gotten there yet. He will eventually. But you can see a whole bunch of them, and they list which ones are dead or alive. So, fun stuff. But we move on to our finale for the season. Before we do that, remember, like, subscribe, follow what the slide says next. Now, just as episode 7 was very poetic and very enjoyable, I also must say that I'm a big fan of episode 8, Red Means Stop. Originally aired March 20th, 2016, written by Doc Hammer. So these last two have been written by Doc Hammer. So what we have here is two villains wake up in a decrepit bathroom full of dead bodies, both chained to pipes. Sounds familiar to a certain horror franchise, right? One of them learns that the other have been there for weeks and gone insane and has been cannibalizing the dead men. The Guild and the OSI stage a sting at Ventec Tower to catch the Blue Morpho, where Watch and Ward gathers and Councilman Phineas Phage disguise themselves as the Ventures and Helper, along with Brock playing himself. Rusty's feared new arch, the Red Death, attacks, quote-unquote attacks. The Monarch and 21 convince Red Death's family to leave their home and call him, pretending that he's kidnapped them. He storms into the Morpho cave, forcing the Monarch to explain his recent actions. Red Death expresses sympathy towards his determination and explains that he has to suppress his own urge to kill regularly, advising the Monarch to continue his quest. 21 reveals that he has lost his nerve to kill the rest of the villains, arching Rusty, and he's been locking them in the cave's bathroom, unaware that one of them has gone insane and killed the rest, bringing us back to that certain room. Red Death agrees to waive his arching rights and not tell the guild what he's learned in exchange for getting to kill that man. Post credits, of course, we have Guild Agent S464 and OSI Agent Kimberly McManus have fallen in love during their sting operation while sitting up there as snipers. Agree to reconnect next time they see each other. So, speaking of that horror franchise, the deconstruction of here, this is obviously a play on the Saw franchise. 21 tells the Monarch early on that while cleaning the Morphomobile, that he really doesn't want to do these killings anymore. Red Death, of course, being the next arch, he arches only one time a year, and he leaves a body count. OSI and Guild meet up like spies in a park, trying to figure out the Blue Morpho situation, decide to team up. It's really hilarious. We got Brock, we've got Hunter, we've got Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, we've got Phantom Limb. The Monarch goes after the Red Death and ends up meeting him in the kids' park. Red Death's there with his daughter. He knows it's the Monarch, and the Red Death, apparently his daughter is obsessed with Paddington. We then, while having this back and forth, we learn, of course, if you've been paying attention and listening to the voice, it's a very familiar one. It's Clancy Brown. Red Death is played by Clancy Brown, the Kurgan from Highlander, and so many other great things. But it's just so funny that we had Christopher Lambert, Christopher Lambert, and now we have Rio Kurgan. Just, fun little back-to-back thing. He is a fan. He then admits that he is a fan of the Monarch's work. He knows it's him, of course, and believes keeping his work and personal life separate. That's his secret. Monarch is totally head over heels in admiration for Red Death. He's like, wow. He's like fawning over him like a bromance. Guild-OSI team up is very much filled with tension. They take over the Ventec Tower with people splitting up. Of course, we have Shorely playing the part of Brock, taking the boys somewhere. Rusty leaves as well. And of course, he's sent with Billy and Pete to Billy's mom's, where he ends up at dinner with Rose and Action Man and Colonel Gentleman. Like we said earlier, one of the Saw guys has already gone crazy and start cannibalizing. Red Death comes arching. 21 and the Monarch pretend to be guild agents and go to Red Death's wife and daughter and tell them to leave the house and then pretend they're kidnapped. Rusty at dinner recounts his childhood trauma to the whole group, and it's just hilarious. They're still talking about Blue Morpho, and of course Billy still thinks that Rusty is the Blue Morpho. Shore Leave, of course, takes the boys out in New York City to a club that no longer exists. The Saw guys we finally find out it's Maestro Wave and the Termite. They finally realize who each other are. And of course, Maestro Wave will then end up killing the Termite as he killed all the other ones. Red Death shows up, and the whole sting is a bust. They get a call from Monarch and 21 saying he's got his family, and the Red Death gives a very much speech like Liam Neeson in Taken. I have a very special set of skills. Red Death finds the Monarch in the Blue Morpho lair, the Morpho cave, or whatever you want to call them. They have a whole heart-to-heart about his whole situation, trying to kind of help him out. Like Red Death's the reasonable one. Eventually find out that the Saw villains were basically the Saw guys were the villains that 21 been kidnapping but not killing. But Maestro Wave has killed them all. The Red Death, like I said, offers to clean it up for them and waives his arching rights. And then, of course, we have the two OSI snipers falling in love. But fun way to end the season. Not very conclusive, but it is fun. I mean, it's just an absolutely hilarious episode. This whole season, I've really enjoyed the whole Blue Morpho storyline and the whole thing. We've gotten into and then finally we get some resolve, particularly in episode 7, going back to what we were looking at earlier with A Party for Tarzan. We finally get some answers about the equal matched aggression level stuff, which I think is a fun wrinkle added in here, as the Monarch tries to build himself up to a level 10 so he can once again arch Rusty. But that is all for now. Please go ahead and continue to follow along with us, like, subscribe. If you want to go over and check out our podcast, the links are down below. This week, our podcast that's coming out this week, we'll be talking about 2011's Hannah. We're in the middle of our Saoirse Ronan watch, and we'll be moving. Last week we did Little Women, and we'll be doing next week, and I'm sure you'll hear me talking about this again, we'll be doing Lady Bird. So you can check those out, links below. You can also check out more information about these episodes. I'm linking that information to the wiki fandom down below as well. I encourage everybody to check those things out. Also, if you want to write us in, you can always comment on the videos. But if you want to write to any of us directly, check it out at notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Until then, go Team Venture. Say not funny guys again.
Not funny guys again.
No, can you say not funny guys?